at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. At the bottom of the ocean. Don't know if I'll make it back home.
Welcome back, everybody, to some sweet UPL action here. My name's Infernosis, joined here by the spectacular Chief Casts, and we've got ourselves a bit of a banger of a matchup. Team Arcane versus Surf. And Chief, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the players themselves that will be playing tonight?
I just want to say before I get over there, your hair is once again this beautiful golden color. I don't know what you're doing, but you just look so beautiful today. I guess you put some spice essence in it
I
or
got some.
something.
I got. I got some big lights. I've changed my whole setup. Obviously, the whole background's different, right? So I've got my studio lights much closer to me, which does give this glow. And I just took a shower, so it kind of
Sexy, man.
mixes in there, and that's what it is. It's definitely the dust that's just lighting off of it. Yeah, we're gonna make references like that all night. I can just tell. But the rosters themselves, Chief. We'll talk about them and a little bit less about Paul Atreides. But why don't you go ahead and tell us?
Well, on the side of Surf, I believe there's going to have a sub today. We're going to be seeing Junior from Wichita Wolves. I don't know who he's subbing in for, but the normal core roster, Doc, Bill, Snake, Slinky, and Poison, that roster has been practically undefeated at this point. I think they've only dropped one series over the course of a month, including all of the leagues that they're playing in weekend tournaments. The only one that they lost was one of the first blood events a couple weekends ago. On the side of Arcane, I'm not familiar with the team other than Rags and Clouds, but from what I know, talking to Clouds yesterday, they're playing with a substitute. They're having some internal problems, and they're a bit concerned going against the powerhouse of Surf today.
Yeah, it could be a bit much, right? I mean, when you're talking about a team that's a little bit less, I guess, well known in the scene, Surf is a team that is very well known. They're extremely strong. We've seen them constantly be playing in every scene, everywhere. Let's be honest, they have snuck their way into not only every scene but our hearts as well. So, but we also notified that last time. I think it was last week, actually. At this time, we saw a game that should not have been close and ended up being extremely close at this time. So maybe we see that again. Maybe we see a bit of a resurgence, a bit of a return, but ultimately we'll also have to see what map it is. I think we may be doomed to see Oregon. I have no idea. I have not actually checked anything.
I haven't either.
From the looks of things,
I
it is
hate you.
going to be it is going to be Oregon. I really hope this is actually true. One of these days, I actually am predicting that Tango or whoever will be taking over production once they fire Tango for being too darn good looking. I feel like one of these days he's going to just secretly sneak it in there that it's not actually the correct scene and we're just seeing it. He's just
Hear me out.
doing it
Hear me out.
because
Hear
it's
me
you.
out. We go honor Matre status, and we just glass Oregon, just like dude gets glassed.
No one's
As you
gonna
can
get these
tell-
references. This isn't even references
As
for
you
the
can
movie.
tell, we're both coming off, dude. We're not even in the dude movies, dude. We're 6 books in, man, or technically 5 books in from that reference.
Oh my goodness, jeez. Well, I'll tell you what. You don't need to be more deep to be able to figure out how this match is gonna go. We're gonna see it live in action. No sneak peeks, no glimpses, no voices in the head. If you do, we want to talk to somebody about that. But really excited for this one. I think this is going to be extremely fun. I do think that this is going to be an exciting matchup. Obviously, when Surf is involved, I'm into it. I'm really excited to be here. They're a really fun team to watch and play. Now, the question really and truly is going to be, can they make this map fun to play? Will Oregon truly be the Borgen we know it out to be?
Well, Surf coming in from Caladan, the water planet, so that's going to help them just a bit. If you're tuning in for the first time for Unified Premiere Week number 3, I apologize. Read some Frank Herbert novels, and you'll be up to speed with the shenanigans taking place. Flores ban, pretty standard so far. We've been seeing a lot of them. Actually, it's kind of one of the benefits of being an amateur play. Monkey see, monkey do, and everybody seems to ban the same things. For good reason. Flores a very powerful operator, most likely going to be a Thatcher, but we've actually seen some Thatchers in play in favor of a Maverick ban, and there it goes. I actually believe it was Surf that kind of started that trend.
I think Maverick's an extremely strong, operator to ban when it comes to this
I hate Maverick, dude. I want to yank him out of every one of my games. I'd rather play with a Thatcher in play than a Mav.
That's true. Okay, well, Maverick being able to have nades and a blowtorch to basically create any sort of kill hole possible, yeah, he's extremely difficult to face off against. But when you're talking about Oregon, he is really a standard ban. But if you leave him up and you leave him available, then you can also leave Kaid available, and you can kind of tease around with some Electro Claws. But if you do ban him, you're also kind of forcing your own hand and forcing the Kaid ban. If you leave Kaid up and running, and you ban out the Maverick, and they don't ban Kaid, then you're going to have to face the wrath of those Electro Claws, and you don't have a great operator with great utility to actually get rid of those. But last ban to go through, Mira. Black Mirror is going to be able to not be allowed to play, which denies a lot of information for some of these cutthroat angles, like placing it on that wall connecting over towards Trophy, being able to spot down instead of putting a shield to watch toward that master bedroom door. But from the looks of things in this pick phase here, Chief, from the first things that we can see, we're going to be going over to the basement site first, and they're going to not lock in not just the aerial denial of Smoke, but the aerial denial of Tachanka for this Shamika launcher.
I actually want to back up. Do you think the reason why when Maverick's banned and Cade needs to be the follow-up ban is teams aren't comfortable using Thatcher? Because if Cade is in play, why not just double Thatcher a hatch? And if you get Cade tricked, well, it's impossible with 2 EMPs. Now, sure, it's a lot of utility being committed, but if you're a passive team, I mean, you should be able to get by it. And the reason why I say teams forget how to use Thatcher, because they do. I mean, how often do we see somebody miss an EMP because they think it's close enough to the wall because they're trying to throw it safely? Or we also see it with another operator like Mira. When Mira's actually in play, teams forget how to deal with her because, well, they're just not scrimming with her. And again, when Thatcher's banned 99.99% of the time, how can you really expect a team to actually be comfortable on that operator?
Yeah, so I was actually about to bring that one up. It's kind of a failure of, I guess, preparation, so to say, right? When you're talking about having a Thatcher be left up, same with the Mira. As my camera falls, 1 second. You have a bit of a couple worrying problems when it comes to individuality. Like, you kind of are forced into this cutthroat pursuits when trying to figure out what's going to work the best, what's not going to work. And when you're not prepared to face off against those or even use them yourself, then you're not going to be as effective as you would be by picking up something that is tried and true, like just playing with a Maverick normally or any other sort of hard breacher. You're going to be practicing that the entire time. Everything is under your own boots and you know how to handle it. When it's left up in the air, like we saw here, and no one's still playing that Thatcher, then it's maybe a bit more simplistic to say. I mean, you could argue in that favor, but at the same time, you also don't need Thatcher on this basement site, truly. And especially when there's no Electro Claws, you really don't have to worry about Thatcher on this basement site. So maybe that's why we're not seeing it.
100% agree with you. And wow, this is an interesting defense for Team Arcane. It was too aggressive, and I don't know why they were just continuing on with that aggressive stance. It was working for them earlier. Oh, Cloud's in a bad spot. He finds one, but the trade is very swift. So once again, Surf ties themselves back up, and Team Arcane, they've lost their roamers, but they found 2 critical kills. The deployable shield of Part Zone is being moved, and this is a great adaptation, except he's looking the wrong way. Pills is in sight. He's just sending it. Team Arcane's Dusty now forced to retreat back down the north stairs, just where Pills came, but Poison's a lurking threat as well. This is a roller coaster of a round. Poison, shoot back. Oh, that's the diffuser, Scott. Things are just all over the place today.
Dusty was kind of brought out of this round in a situation where he can't really fight back. Now, maybe getting a glimpse of what could possibly still be, as he has control of Diffuser, but unfortunately, Bills has control of the round, a vice grip, so to say, right into the throats of the competition. A huge surplus of kills, a flurry, so to say, in his name, and Surf Esports will cap off a very successful round one. Junior will finally make his great return, and we'll be able to see if they're able to continue doing so. I think that it's only doomed to repeat. Surf are extremely strong. We see them as a very competent roster, and they know what they're capable of, and Team Arcane is someone that we're not necessarily sure how they're going to play out. And from the looks of things, they were not well adjusted. They were not setting themselves up for the quick rush, and they did not allow for themselves enough time to swiftly get all of their defensive arrangements organized and set up correctly in due fashion, and allowed for Surf to sprint in while they were still prepping and unaware of, I guess, their own selves and their own defense. So Surf is taking control, and they're also putting in some nice banter in the chat there, as we do see him taking a bit of a jab at the competition. But Chief, the way that round panned out, and the fact we're going back to it, which I absolutely despise ever doing, do Surf decide to sprint back in? Or do they play this one a little bit slower and maybe try to toy with Arcane a little bit more?
Do you think default camera was still up on North Stairs? Because there's just never reality where you should be shot from behind. And if you know that camera was destroyed, well, that's free information that the push is at least has the option going north. There were members dead for Team Arcane, and I mean, on-site pressure was just caught unawares. I talked to Clouds yesterday, and we were talking about theory crafting Surf. And I basically told him that his only option is to be unpredictable, play a little bit chaotic, and if you force Poison to analyze the entire round, that's your advantage. But if you do things that are normal, something that he's seen, he's just going to be better than you and outthink you. And I actually like what I saw from Team Arcane. They find the first 2 opening kills. That's exactly what we needed for them, to be aggressive and playing as a team. It didn't work in the end, though, because their unpredictability, moving shields on site, ends up costing them. So, is it going to be another successful round where they find the opening kill? It's already a deviation away from that round one because Team Arcane can't be as aggressive in Zulu.
Well, they can't be aggressive in Zulu, but unfortunately they can't really be aggressive wherever Doc may lie. It'll be Dusty who loses their life. And here's where we're going to see some of those defensive denial utilities that Arcane is bringing to the table. The Shamika launcher and the Toxic Babes. They can deny time. They can be a little bit unpredictable in where they place those. And I do think that you're right. I do think that we've seen Clouds kind of rotate a couple of different directions. He's watching more than one angle and just trying to be very swift, trying to rotate a lot, trying to be someone that's just a big thorn in the side without actually having to be a thorn. And I think that's going to be a strong strategy for them. But with the way that we're also seeing Team Arcane play, they don't really have a defensive setup that can deny Surf in its entirety. They just need to be a bit more aggressive and find frags, and that's something we know Surf is very capable of and will continue to be capable of doing so. Bill steps up big, refragged back by Clouds, but Doc's not far behind, takes themselves back into a turn, and a 4v2 officially underway. Snake's clearing sight. Doc clears out Rags, and there's just one player left standing. It's unfortunately doesn't seem to be lasting much longer because Snake will pounce. There goes Patrol Zone, and there goes yet another round in favor of this Surf side.
It's a good attempt from Team Arcane. They found a few kills here and there, but it was impactless. Team Surf just walks into the bomb site, simply put. They're putting very little effort on clearing out the map. They're putting very little effort into executing a freezer launcher at the North Stairs because Team Arcane just isn't putting up a scenario where Surf is denied. We're seeing some utility. We're seeing Jaeger radiuses, Wamaya pancakes. We saw both Smoke and Lord Tachanka in play. So you have area denial, but that didn't stop Team Surf once. And if you're bringing out utility, make sure you're using it. I want to see a strat that's almost pure utility consumption simulator or pure just crazy brain dead roam. Because again, you have to make Poison be on his toes. He is a Mentat, basically. And if you overwhelm him with data and facts, he is going to fall. But if you give him a very simple setup, like we've seen both basement rounds, I mean, Poison just breaks it down with very little effort. That execute took place with 90 seconds remaining on the clock. That is just unacceptable. Like, you have to be absorbing the clock in some way. And Team Arcane, moving forward, they're electing to bring multiple deployable shields. We're seeing 3, in fact. But is that really enough to stop Team Surf? Because they have a lot of utility denial. They're bringing a lot of flashbangs, and they're bringing a lot of explosive devices.
Yeah, when it kind of does throw a bit of a thorn in the side, right? Especially with the fact that Bills really likes to play Ashe, and Ashe hasn't really been a standardized meta pick in recent times, and that just allows for them to burn through utility even faster, because you can throw flashes, or you can just go ahead and say, hey, yeah, we'll burn you with flashes for those ADSs, and then we'll immediately clear things out, and that's something that Bill specializes in. He's very swift on the rushes, he knows what he's capable of, but I'll take a step back and talk about what you said earlier, maybe give a reference that people are kind of aware of. A computer can only handle so many tasks at a time, and if you overload your CPU and try to do too much, eventually it'll slow down and won't be able to comprehend what's going forward, and that's what Team Arcane need to do. They need to pull out enough to, I guess, keep Surf on their toes and kind of overload them and not do that. Exactly. Not walk slowly through and not be aware that there is a rush coming from that armory side. And unfortunately, they were not aware. And now they're going to kind of be trapped over on those freezer stairs. Dusty's in a bit of a poor spot, but the looks of thing, the rest of Arcane are fitting standard pretty when it comes to holding their sight and holding inside, but they do have a bit of a problem as Snake is continuously looking to find their target. It'll be Dusty instead. Poison not far behind into Pitro zone. But still, it's a 2v4 on site. A bad situation for any team to be in.
What does this mean for Team Arcane? They're going to have to make a hero play. A Nitro Cell from underneath from Dusty may be exactly that, but the control from Surf is just so powerful. They have almost the entire map under their thumb, and the loss of Snake might be more or less meaningless because you have a Jackal, Inox scanner, that can find the feet of so many players. Great droning from Surf, but Dog makes an error. That missed shot is going to allow Team Arcane back in this series. And Scott, you mentioned that you hate going to bomb sites twice. Well, this might be the perfect example of that, because we would have seen a victory maybe sooner in round 2 if it takes that place. And we don't even know if that's taking place at all yet, because Surf or Team Arcane hasn't guaranteed this win, but that kill from Bills, big window, and the execute now looming on the horizon. Team Arcane has to make the hero play, and Poison's death is exactly that.
It's weird because Team Arcane have been sitting in a player advantage and player disadvantage when it comes to the site, but Surf Esports weren't capitalizing, and instead they kind of bleed out for the rest of their roster. They lost a player from a Nitro Cell, quick rush out with the FO12, and now it's going to have to be Junior clutching up the sub player. Weights on their shoulders. It'll be Clouds, though, setting a trophy, watching through the door connecting over towards that game's room side, but going to play this one a little bit safer. Junior's going to go ahead and step out through door. Takes him a bit to do so, but we'll get the diffuser and now look to go towards the site. You'll have to force and actually go for this plant, though, with the time he's given himself. I don't know if you'll have time. The quick rush is going to come out from Clouds. He'll try to hop off, and Clouds finds it with the FO12. Takes out Junior for the sub and gives themselves their first round win. And it is, in fact, going to be another chance where we said they could have had a round win a little bit sooner in their books. But Team Arcane decided to play the same objective twice. Maybe flying too close to the sun, felled by their own hubris.
And that's what we're talking about for Team Arcane. They did a lot of things in that round. They were roaming with a purpose. They were active on their pressure throughout the map, and Surf didn't respect that roam enough. And it allowed Dusty to go nuclear. It was 3 kills for Dusty and 2 kills for Clouds, that FO12. I mean, it was Team Arcane setting the pace of that round in every single aspect. They were aggro. They were passive when they needed to be. And there are moments where members of Team Arcane were maybe a little bit too aggressive. We saw Malusi being felled early on. I mean, her gunfight in Trophy had no purpose whatsoever. I mean, why are you taking that gunfight in Trophy? To pick off somebody maybe running up, I guess, the white van and a master? That seems like a senseless gunfight. And it was a senseless gunfight when the flank came up the armory stairs. So it is now smart that Team Arcane, they know what they can do. If they are active throughout the duration of a round, they have the potential of winning. But they're going back downstairs to the basement. This is now their 3rd attempt at this site, and they are setting themselves up for a larger roam presence as we see Armazi and Vigil in play. But is that the answer to their prayers? We'll find out.
I feel like if they extended their roam to the second floor, yeah, you're a little bit out of the way, but a lot of teams don't actually full clear your second floor. They take control of first and then assume that they've got
Is that
themselves
a-
a safety net,
But
but
I think it is.
which side?
Had it made 70?
That an M870? No, Clouds did not bring an M870. He did. He brought an M870.
Yes!
All right, Clouds.
Give
we
it
see what you're
ACOG.
going-
Give it ACOG.
Do not give it an ACOG. Do not give it an
Give
ACOG.
it ACOG.
Please, Ubisoft. I know you never listen to us anyways, but please especially don't listen to it now. I think everyone's
Give
asking.
it ACOG.
Oh my
ACOG.
goodness.
M870 ACOG. Production's typing it in chat right now.
Please, please, never. I would rather cry. I would rather cry, please. Quick rush. It looks to be that Surfer looking maybe not so quick. They're taking the time with it, but they cleared out through small tower now, looking to step up through kitchen stairs. And a quick road made it so, but Clouds has been holding in security. The M870 comes up big, takes out Snake, and has tagged out a huge amount of HP against Doc. Now Surfer in a very poor position. They've given themselves little to no success trying to intro. Yeah, they tagged 2 down fairly low, but they're going to have to bring themselves around kitchen side and try to get that supplementary damage towards Clouds, but Doc is really not given an escape route. He's going to have to go prone. Clouds and Dusty are felled in a very quick suit, but Cuban's able to stop the bleeding ever so slightly. Maybe a 3v3, but Cuban's still alive, still well. Roni in hand. He's made the rotation back downstairs, looking to help and contend his team when it comes to turtling up where necessary, but his HP is looking worse for wear. Meanwhile, Surfer mostly positive. Poison's the only player to take damage so far. And it looks to be they're actually going to do a double push. One player down freezer stairs. Another one's going to come probably from... a second rotate towards freezer stairs. Another one's going to come Laundry, allowing them full entry from the southern side. And the player coming from Laundry can crossfire just like that. Junior finds Cuban. And there's only 2 players left for Arcane to try and contend. Both of them trying to peek towards Junior. Rags is the one who finds the kills, but Bill swings in due fashion. Another one, Pitro, just about the opposing side. He'll find and down Poison. Not much HP to do that job, but Bill swings and loses the fight! A headshot gets the kill! And another round win. Team Arcane successful, but at what cost? It almost took him everything to get the job done.
But they were able to cross the finish line, and that's the crucial fact. Clouds yesterday was concerned that they would fall 7-0. They were concerned that they wouldn't even find around 2 rounds underneath their belt because Surf underestimated their opponent. They didn't drone. They didn't really use the Inox scanner effectively enough because Clouds, with his M870 ACOG-less, found 1 kill and damaged Doc severely. But his pressure alone, the fact that he was misdrone, the fact that the Inox scanner never identified that Cloud's feet were in that position is concerning to me. That showed Surf kind of got tunnel visioned and they got focused on just flicking heads. And that's really going to be the strength of Team Arcane, is to lull Team Surf into this hubris, overconfidence, and then start to punish them. 2 rounds in a row for Team Arcane on that mentality. I believe Surf are now going to respect their opponents a little bit more because Surf has been a roster that has easily 7-0'd teams, and Poison does not want to be dropping rounds.
Bit of an Icarus, right? Flying too close to the sun. Hubris biting up against you. Yeah, Surf is the team that's anticipated to win, but Team Arcane are putting their name out there, and that's exactly what they need to do. Like you said, I think Surf are going to respect their opponents a little bit further, but this is a difficult objective. This objective is one that, if you're trying to defend it, you have to take full advantage of the second floor. And that's typically where you're not seeing dining right now. Unfortunately, I do not like that fact. I love kitchen and dining, but that's the reason we don't see it right now, is because, to be frank, when you're talking about a flash dump meta, as it really and truly is right now, you're also talking about utility consumption as a whole, and the fact that you can't one-man army anymore, because, to be frank, those flashes will blind you no matter where you may lie, and it's just a little bit too much for any team to try and contend with. Meeting Hall's the best place to go, but you have to take control of the second floor, and you have to hold on to Attic, and from the looks of things, they're able to do that. Player tried to come in from Armory, was felled quite quickly, but Big Window has been left open for a little bit longer. Junior tries to step up, gets a little bit of damage off, but Doc is the first to find his team a kill. Let's take out Patrol, and Cuban's going to continue to pound the hurt on this Surf side. Takes out another. Second kill to his name, this one onto the sub. That's only Poison and Doc left standing. But Poison's got a swift entry. He's just walking straight through Split all the way into sight. Doc is sitting inside Kitchen now, and they've got 2 players set up fairly nicely until Rags can have something to say about it. He'll do just that. Takes out Doc. It's just Poison. Swings to 1, but Rags to riches finds himself another round.
Fun fact. My first ever teammate on PC was Rags. Unknown Gaming
Really?
over 2 years ago. And it's interesting to see how far he's come. And it's beautiful that he's able to help Team Arcane find that third round win. Now, fun fact for you, Scooter. Across the past 2 weeks, Team Surf has only dropped 3 rounds. Arcane has just doubled that in week 3. So that means in week 1, maybe it's 2 rounds they lost or 1 round. It really doesn't matter. Team Arcane has put a better performance than any roster that Team Surf has played against all Unified Premier season. And Team Arcane has struggled. They currently have been unable to win a series. They've only won 5 rounds across the past 2 weeks. And they're approaching doubling that again, just like they've doubled the loss record of Team Surf round differential. So Team Arcane, with a substitute, both rosters actually with substitutes, starting to really bloody each other's nose. And Team Arcane, honestly, in rounds 1 and 2, they look scared. They weren't playing to what they should have been. And in the latter few rounds of their defense, they've been setting the pace. They've been playing very well, and they have been confident. And that's what you need to do. You have to be confident against Poison and Surf.
Confidence is key. Yeah, I feel like if you're trying to ego peek every single angle, then yeah, being confident's your best bet. And if you're shaking in fear at the opposition, then you're not going to hit your shots. And that's something that we saw Surf do a lot of in round 1 with Bills finding a 3K, but we've also seen Bills lose firefights against players that you wouldn't anticipate him to do so, and I don't think that's just because Arcane have put fear in them. I think it's just because Arcane are not sitting in usual spots. Like here, Clouds is playing with an FO12. We saw an M870 prior. We're seeing guns that are not typically your main held hands in these positions, and they're holding in cheeky spots. They're giving themselves chances. They're literally pulling these out of essentially thin air. And like that army position we saw last round where you did see a player Dusty swing forward to go for the kill and find it, that's what they need to do. You can't play this passively if you're Arcane, because Surf are the kings of aggression. You need to fight them on that even ground, but you still need to take advantage of the advantage you have, which is turtling. Being able to stay safe, and a lot of the infrastructure and utility that's inside of the building, you can plant those yourselves with shields, or you can take advantage of what's there in this floor plan, such as walls and reinforcements you can place down. Whatever you've got to do it, because it's going to help you as best as you can. And unfortunately, Surf had a bit too much intel. They knew a player was kind of roaming around, and that happened to be Clouds, and they snuff it out quite quickly. Take advantage of Nitro tags Bills for a lot, but unable to find its kill. That's going to flush out the player from behind bunk bed.
Rags will find his 4th kill this series. Aggro on South Games takes a ton of damage. He swings, and Poison was not prepared, but Poison, the support gunner, I guess will find that endeavor. And now the vice grip of Team Surf continues to restrict the members of Team Arcane. All of them on the bomb side, and all of them with their backs against the wall. Look at their positions. They have nothing. They're maybe covering 3 meters. That's just not enough. If Surf drones this out, they get a free plant at this point. You can plant anywhere. Kids Games and Junior, the Challenger League analyst for Wichita Wolves, just pushes on forward. Again, phenomenal player, phenomenal brain, but a little bit too aggro there. And now Team Arcane, they look like they're coming back, clawing themselves from a victory to a victory, but no longer the case.
The Nitro attempted from Dusty. Unfortunately, does not get it through the actual metal ramparts, and now he's going to have to watch the plant go down in front of his face, but it doesn't even matter. Bill's ego swings the corner, finds themselves the last kill, and the plant's not a necessity. An easy cleanup round there for Surf, though things started to get a little bit spicy for them, but now we'll get to see Surf be on what's considered to be the more advantageous side, that is defense. And the way that we've seen Arcane adapt on the defense prior to be as aggressive as Surf was, then I do think that there's a viability here for them on the attack. But are they going to be a team that's able to contend with what Surf brings to the table? It's up in the air. We'll have to see how it pans out. But from the looks of things, Surf are not playing at Surf's best. Is that because they have a sub? I don't think so. I think Junior's a competent player from what I've seen. Maybe gets a bit too aggressive at times like last round, but I don't know. Team Arcane are putting up a major fight and are being a huge contender against Surf right now. And if this does go through for them, then it would be a massive victory. But Arcane's going to have to get through the hardest part, the hardest fight yet, trying to attack against a very substantiated roster that's turtling up on the defense here in this basement site.
I'm gonna be honest, I think taking 3 rounds against Surf is a win. If Team Arcane now drops the remaining 4 rounds and they lose 7-3, the fact that they won 3 rounds is an accomplishment. Again, Team Surf has only dropped 3 rounds in week 1 and week 2. Now in week 3, they're dropping an additional. So again, they've doubled their round loss over the course of just 1 week. So Team Arcane, for that reason alone, should have their heads held high. Team Arcane was a roster that was expecting to get 7-0'd, and I even think Surf was expecting to 7-0 them off that comment that we saw from Snake at the start of, I think, at the end of round 1. But moving forward, Team Arcane, as you mentioned, huge hill to climb. It's going to be very difficult to break down this setup, because not only is it a roam upstairs, but it's a pretty decent anchor. And Team Surf, when they're on their attack, they kind of just pushed. They didn't really care about the setup. My concern for Team Arcane is they're going to just get stuck in the setup or the roam or one facet of this defense and completely just absorb all of their clock, just like they're doing now. There's no drones gathering information. Clouds is just holding an angle. He needs to be screaming to whoever their primary droner is to gather information or rotate rags to find the feet with the IDOC scanner.
That's one of the problems you see so often here in T3 and T4, Chief, is so many teams don't take actively advantage of the information they have. Players are dying with all of their drones in their pocket, not being fully utilized and implemented, and it's a huge failure on their part. Nitrocell tossed, it's a massive boon. Junior finds a shot over to Clouds, and Snake is actually the first to find the kill, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's basically 2 players off the board for Arcane. Their injuries. Dusty can still assist. It's your Ash. You can typically consider them to still be that entry main, but they've lost nades in the hands of the Ariana. They don't have explosive ordnance besides maybe trying to rely on some breaching rounds, but those aren't really killing potential for that Team Arcane side, and miraculously, at least for Team Arcane, Bills misses shots. Gives them a bit of an opportunity to claw themselves back into it, but the IDOC scanner trying to maybe catch 1 or 2 opponents off guard doesn't seem to gather too much intel, only really 1 player in the footsteps. Quite old, a bit expired, some would say, but Arcane are pushing from multiple directions. They finally cleared hatch when it comes to that main hall, and Dusty will be able to fully swing over towards Laundry. He'll be falling a little bit there for that alibi utility, but still holding strong. He needs to be worried about the player sitting in supply.
Dusty's just making a play. No drones. Speaking of making a play, hello, Rags just dropped from above, but the drop was just ridiculous. All right, I promised Cloud that I wouldn't rip him for making bad decisions. I'm gonna have to do you, bud. That was not acceptable. Honestly, why? What was the point of double dropping Freezer? You have 40-something seconds left in that round. You have Dusty pushing in from Laundry, and you double prone silent drop Laundry to get pressure? Why? You what? You want the gunfight into Deep Freezer? You want the gunfight into Closet? Are you trying to alleviate the pressure from Dusty feeling close right? I don't know what the point of that was, because it doesn't accomplish or doesn't solve any of the problems of that round, and it was a positional advantage. The gunfight double drop doesn't break that. You'd been better off rotating your troops away from Freezer down the north stairs and at least rotate the gun barrels of Surf away from Freezer to a different portion of that map. At least that's going to offer temporary, I guess, pain relief to Dusty, who can now maybe continue the challenge from Laundry, but Team Surf just gifted 2 kills there. It was a senseless engagement. It was just a dumb call.
They're ego peeking every corner too. You're talking about they don't really have the utility to match it, so they're just trying to be just hyper aggressive. When you're saying Surf bring in and rock, say if they want to rock a Sophia and Ash and Iana, okay, whatever. It's Surf, right? They don't really feel they've got a huge dog in this fight, right? They don't really feel like it's a huge matter for them. But when you're talking, especially with the fact they have a sub, but for Team Arcane, this is their baseline roster. Yeah, you need to match the aggression that Surf is bringing to the table, but you need to play your own game. And I don't think that 3 entry is going to be your game. So now they're trying to bring out something new. They've got a Lion, a Finka, and a Blitz to kind of supplement what they brought prior, but a Blitz? Like, listen, I also have zero self-respect. I understand the game, right? I've been here for that from the get-go, right? I have probably 300 hours of Blitz alone. But there is a point at what you're doing just isn't going to work. From the looks of things, that damage is starting off early. Those was rotating over from kitchen side, takes out Dusty, who I can only assume stepped in from small tower, but Team Arcane step in quite swiftly. They come big window with one, another one's going to come from freezer stairs, and two are going to come from that attic side, but it's emphatically shot down by Doc and Poison, who just swing every single corner possible. And Poison, that is the fastest swing I think I've ever seen. He just pumps up out of nowhere, still finds the kill, and Surf find themselves basically an easy round win because Arcane had zero supplementary utility. They didn't smoke. They didn't throw anything to dump. They just waltzed in and assumed that it would work because it worked for Surf in round one.
I was not going to talk about the Blitz at all because I guess I didn't have faith in Clouds. And sorry, bud. I was right. What a dumb play. Again, you hit the nail right there. You are bringing a Blitz who has flashbangs. Why not just commit fully to the YOLO nature of that and bring a Ying too and just push? Because Team Arcane actually had sight. They had a decent rush. It was working for them. One of the problems with a rush is players want to sprint. They want to rush. The point of a rush is to take map control, but also be taking gunfights. And if you're just kind of run, well, you're not shooting back. At some point, you actually have to shoot back, and that's where Team Arcane actually fails. Their initial execute was really solid. Honestly, it was working for them. They just got a little bit carried away in the YOLO nature of that execute. And that's frustrating because they could have won that round and they just gave away senseless gunfights. Their coverage on the Rust was lackluster. They had double window repels. It failed. And even their support player who was outside by big window, as soon as his comrades fell, he wasn't in a position to do anything. All right, Doc, that was dumb too. If I'm gonna call Arcane out for making dumb plays, Doc, you're gonna get the same criticism.
Yeah, I don't really know what was anticipated there. Look, we're seeing drones being used. This is phenomenal. But when you're talking about your big window player, I think that's Dusty we saw there. They didn't actually clear big window. The information should have been there for the Team Arcane side. And it is Dusty. Yeah, they should have been there for the Team Arcane side and should have realized, hey, he's just gonna rotate away. There's no way he's gonna fight all four of us that are pushing in second floor. Clear that window. Fight him on the cut angle, but you didn't do so, and you lose an easy frag on the getaway. And so now you're in a position where, yeah, you have another man up, and you could have gone 2 up, and it would have been even stronger for you, but
Poison.
you don't do so. Poison bringing out the super shorty, looking to step up big in the second floor. Cuban's going to take a lot of the damage. Tags a little bit back in return, but stays alive, but a nice show tossed. This one's not going to tag too much. A little bit over tossed in the process. Cuban's going to make his great escape to the opposing side, which will disallow for Poison to go for any major swings. They're just barely missing each other here, Chief, as they're trying to find a lot of these cut angles, but nothing's exactly working for them, and thankfully we're not seeing a semi-coordinated assault like we saw last round where Finka and Blitz just rushed through and assumed it would work, but they're at least trying to clear multiple angles. Finally now heading over towards dining. Looks to be that kitchen is their, I guess, preferred choice of the objectives to actually push through. We saw Surf attempt to go through to meeting hall. That did not work out for them, but they've given themselves a huge foothold when it comes to dining in that second floor. They just need to actually take the last few steps and actually jump into the objective.
With the vertical pressure, this is a really good call because you can force those defenders away. Now you have to force Poison away, who's in security, but as soon as that takes place, you have absolute control of that bomb site. And the fact that the members of Surf are continuously stacking in that position, this should be free reign from Team Arcane, but they've rotated every single attacker to dining room. This is a critical mistake. You have vertical pressure. Leverage it. Use it as an asset. And as a result, it's allowing Surf to potentially just push on forward. Snake, no fear, but ends up losing his life in the end. This could have been a catastrophic round. Again, good for Team Arcane to win it. They should not have been that close. That should have been a flat 4-man just stomp. The fact that there's no pressure from above made it way too close. Unacceptably close.
Yeah, I don't think there's What are we watching here, Chief? That's like the big question. The fact that Team Arcane can come out in these setups, in these pushes,
Troll Team 6.
and have some round. Yeah, I think that's fairly accurate. We have some rounds where it's like, yo, Team Arcane, what are you doing? Like, what is your strategy choice? Why are you bringing a Fink and a Blitz and attempting to rush through Attic and then have one player big window, loses their life, a second one that didn't even assist that first player who lost their life, and then still trying to have a solo player be a hero? There is no hero play for you. And yet we see a round that's semi-coordinated. They do a good job of clearing the first. To be frank, Clouds just finds a lucky shot, a nice shot on the Doc. I won't say lucky. And Doc got too aggressive for it, tried to ego it. But Team Arcane are scraping rounds against Surf, and this really and truly doesn't seem like a game that should be close, but Team Arcane are keeping it close because they are being quite emphatic about a lot of their defensive and attacking rounds. They're taking things to the heart, so to say, when it comes to what Surf brings to them in the rounds prior. They're adapting, but it's also just strokes of weird luck. Maybe it's Surf just losing a couple brain cells when it comes to individual plays. Maybe it's the fact that Team Arcane are relying on these hero plays and hero swings for majority of the playstyle. I don't know what it truly is, but Surf have been caught off guard in a few too many, way too many of these rounds, and it's working for Team Arcane, but I just don't know if it'll work enough to guarantee them a round win, but it at the very least is getting them real close.
I don't want to undermine the accomplishment that Team Arcane has made. Again, 4 rounds against Team Surf is more than anybody, actually more than the 2 teams that have played in the previous weeks have been able to accomplish. So Team Arcane is going to have their head held high. Excuse me? What? What? What is going on? Why are we in the bomb
Just
site?
run in!
And
Just run in!
Junior
Yeah!
getting killed?
That's it! The whole W! That works out, right? Like... Oh,
What?
oh my goodness.
This is
Chief.
not working.
Oh,
Cloud,
he
shoot
blinds him
back
too!
your flash
You're
and
kidding
give
me!
it to a
You're
Blitz.
kidding me!
How is Arcane in the lead? Doc is getting
Find him, Doc!
It's
Oh,
over.
God. Oh,
Clouds-
God.
If Clouds loses this, I quit. There's just no way.
Oh, my
Doc
God.
is insane. What?
What is going on, Chief? Please! What did they just swing through blue bunker through blue bunker before anyone had any idea? How do you let Clouds in that fast? He's a blitz. He makes every noise on the planet when he walks. Like, not only do you let Clouds just walk in, you then allow him to be this huge distraction that lets the rest of his team step up where necessary. And then on top of that, you still don't get the kill. You swing corner to a supply closet, and there's a shield in his face. What are you going to do? What are you going to do against him? Don't peek that.
I apologize to my neighbors and everybody whose ears just heard my mic hit 6 million gain. I have 2 best of 3s after this broadcast, and I've just lost my voice on one round.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've been losing my voice over the last few days. Like, I've been feeling like a tickle in my throat. That didn't help. That did not help in the slightest. Yeah, that was something else, Chief. That was a very interesting attempt. We'll say that much. But they'll have one more try.
It almost worked.
That's the worst part.
We're gonna go back, man. That round is clip shipped. I'm sure Jay right now, or it's not yet there yet, but
The
Jay
worst
is
part
gonna...
is it was so short it can't fit in one clip.
No way, bro. Like, what a ridiculous round. I was complimenting Team Arcane for the fact that some of the stuff that they've done is drop 4 rounds to Team Surf, which is incredible because no team has been able to take 80 rounds practically. Again, from week 1 and 2, only 3 rounds were dropped by Team Surf. Team Arcane has now doubled that, over doubled that today, finding 4 rounds. So brilliant job. Jesus!
Oh, Doc! I don't even want to acknowledge what either side is doing right now, dude. Like, it genuinely just feels like an unprecedented source of anguish for me, right? Like, Team Arcane is pulling off something that was not anticipated any team to be capable of doing, but yet Surf are just fighting them at that level, right? They're saying, you drop down to this level, I'll fight you right back at it. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Snake's been sitting up in small tower the whole time, takes out Rags. Now Doc's just going to spray and pray around the corner. Bills with the X4 Storm, takes out Dusty. This is going to be all she wrote if it keeps at this pace. Doc's trying to find one of the last player swings. That's Clouds, and Patro finally takes out Bills. 1 player difference between these 2 sides now, and Chief, What is even
Don't,
happening?
he's gonna
right
fall
now?
down. He's gonna fall down.
Please, Junior, please jump out. No, it's a double swing. Opposing side. Stay outside. Stay outside. They had the ping.
Has
Hit the right
anybody
ping,
died in
Clouds!
the building? Dude, Clouds. Clouds
Please
can
don't
come
lose
back
this.
and
If he
win
loses
this.
this,
He can do
Clouds.
this. He
Junior.
can do this.
Clouds!
He's done it.
I don't even have a response, Chief. I don't even have a response.
Dude, this is what I wish I'm allowed to curse on broadcast.
You just gotta get yourself a button, dude. Like, ah, you know.
Can you please hit me with that? I need that sentence, but bleep it out right now. Go for it, please. Please do it for me.
To do what? Do what?
The I just need just like 8 bleeps. Go hit it.
There you go. My producer's very upset. He's forgetting.
Oh
There
my
you go.
god, you just blew out everybody's ears.
Yeah, so yeah, it's okay. That last round blew out everyone's eyes. So it at least made us wish we had no eyes. How about that? I think OT could happen here unless Surf just decide to actually just play. You know.
I mean, to be fair, Team Arcane, the fact that they're now 5 rounds up, or I can't say up, they're still down a round, is incredible. The run from Team Arcane is phenomenal. Unfortunately, though, I don't think Surf is playing to the extent, to the maximum capabilities. That's the thing, is Surf is just not caring. I hate to put it that way. Especially when I have ex-teammates on the side of Team Arcane. But I have to be blunt. It's Team Arcane getting kind of gifted rounds. But with that being said, I mean, Clouds is showing that he's a phenomenal player. He's showing that he can gun against some of the best amateur players currently. I mean, we even have Junior from Wichita Wolves, a Challenger League analyst. Poison is very likely to go to CL since he just turned 18, or at least he has the capabilities if he makes his tryout successful. So, I mean, there's a plethora of talent in this lobby, and Arcane is showing that they deserve to be respected.
Yeah, think about it. Dusty earlier was top fragging by halftime, but hasn't really been able to do much on the attack, and Clouds has kind of filled that gap, and yeah, I think Clouds is a little bit slept on here. He's been playing spectacularly, and everything that he's been able to do in a game that hasn't really been super indicative of how it's going, right? It's fairly impressive, but they're laughing, having a good laugh. It'll be another kill dropped, though, for Surf Esports, but we've seen them come back from worse if you are Team Arcade, aka last round, aka if you want to remember, maybe you try to block it out, but Doc tries to ego peek against Petro, and unfortunately it doesn't seem to work out. So now they've got control over Master Benjamin and the control of a trophy, but Bills is quick on the flank, but doesn't take the shot. Finds the eyesight of one, but doesn't actually click. And that doesn't seem to click well for Surf Esports, as it's now tied 3-3. And they've got to hold on to the objective. This hard wall connecting over towards games from this walk-in closet side is going to swiftly be opened, giving Team Arcane sight lines into the objective.
Is this Team Arcane taking us into overtime? Honestly, the way that they've been playing, it's very possible. We're just going to have to see what they do. They have plenty of drones. They have information gathering. Well, plenty might be an oversell. They have some drones. They only have about 3 left between their 3 attackers. That's really not a lot to gather information. Plus, you have to hope that there are still flank drones still established over on the Zulu side to identify exactly what Snake is doing down there. Because Snake is a loose cannon in this round. His ability to come up the armory stairs may change the way Arcane actually ends up playing. Smoke grenades go out, and that might be the cue to push the bomb site, but it's defending smoke grenades, a Toxic Babes, an answer. Scott, this is a slow attack from Team Arcane. They've been in this spot for a while, and the Malusi Wubwubs will give away Ozone's position. A free kill for Snake up the white stairs. Team Arcane drops the diffuser in sight, and now they're going to have to rely on Rags, the former unknown gaming player, to step up huge.
Poison's going to get the shot from underneath. That's going to be that hard wall. Sorry, softball that's been opened up. The rotate hole connecting over from that kids' room side, but it's just Clouds. He's only got 24 seconds to work with and doesn't really have a great way to step up besides that armory staircase. They haven't cleared these cameras at this point, really? 15 seconds. Not much time to continue with. Clouds has to step up big. Does not have control of diffuser, and the Toxic Babes continuously being sent forward. Honestly, Surf could just start to slowly funnel forward. They're going to go ahead and say GG's. Junior doesn't find the opportune moment for a kill until he whips out the gap, gets the job done himself. But good night. I think that last round here, Chief, I will not say it. I say it a bit ironically, but maybe unironically. I think that was the first time we saw active utility besides Heartbreach actually being employed on an attacking round. Smokes? Wow. That is the first time I think we've had a pleasure of seeing that this time. I mean, they just were not using their utility. They were just going around fighting. They were just... It was hero plays, right? That's what it came down to. They were fighting in the ways they wanted to fight, not in the ways that you typically would be considered to fight. I'll adjust my camera to center myself. Well, as you
Golden
really
hair.
should fight, but there's it's just not really what you want to see.
I'm going to say Cloud's messaged me, I think, at the start of week number 1. He said, "Hey, Chief, I'm playing really well. I'm entry. When you cast me in week 3, you're going to be impressed." And you know what? That 15 bond from Clouds, the kid from emergence to now, I mean, he's grown as a player. He's even a team like Surf, who's BMing, having fun, memeing, whatever you want to insert there. I mean, Cloud showed that he can play very well. He even played well when he was on Windstorm. So I'm really proud that he was able and his roster was able to find 5 rounds. Again, they weren't playing against Surf, taking it seriously, but I mean, like I mentioned before, in weeks 1 and 2, Surf only drops 3 rounds. Here in week 3, they drop 5 rounds. So Team Arcane should have their heads held high after that one. And Surf, they have important matches coming up in the latter portions of this week. Solar Flare Grand Finals being one of them. And I have a suspicion that they are, well, pulling AG2 and saving strats.
That could very well be the play. I think that's a definite possibility. We have to see, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and obviously more here for UPL as a whole. My name's Infinosis, been joined here by the wonderful Chief. You'll see me tomorrow as well, unfortunately with Fellow, but we have some more R6 action throughout the rest of the week. Ratio for John. And we also have more in the up and coming week, so make sure to stay tuned, follow the socials. We'll see you guys in the next one.
I noticed I drink a lot of sodas when I'm gaming. Might as well drink something that's good for me. Head over to drinkolipop.com and order your favorite flavor.